Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Avatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistike. So continuing with the discussion on Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita by Satguru Das Goswami. So we're discussing this chapter when Prabhupada is planning to build this big temple in Mayapur, and he has to uh, lay the cornerstone Mayapur. Srila Prabhupada was demonstrating how the world could be spiritualized by linking material things with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, through Bhakti Yoga. And why shouldn't such spiritual feats surpass the achievements of the materialists? Prabhupada was sorry to learn through the Indian High Commissioner that the Prime Minister could not attend the cornerstone laying ceremony in Mayapur. Yet he took it as Krishna's desire. He said he would invite a prominent Vaishnava to officiate, or he might do it himself. On the wall, he wrote, "It was Lord Chaitanya's desire that a Vaishnava shall lay down the cornerstone instead of asking some material man or women to perform the holy work." So yes, Prabhupada invited Prime Minister at that time. Indira Gandhi was there. But she couldn't come, so Prabhupada said, okay, let me do it myself. The monsoons came and the Ganges spilled over her banks, flooding the entire ISKCON Mayapur property. Achyutanand Swami had built a straw and bamboo hut where Prabhupada was soon to stay, but the waters rose until Achyutanand Swami had to live in the bamboo rafters. So he was living on the roof of that hut. He wrote Prabhupada that had it not been for Bhakti Siddhanta Road, the damage would have been extensive. Prabhupada replied, yes, we were saved by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Road. We shall always expect to be saved by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada. Always pray to His lotus feet. Whatever success we have had in preaching Lord Chaitanya's mission all over the world is only due to His mercy. So Bhakti Siddhanta Road, that is the main road in front of the temple, connecting Ganga or Jalangi all the way to the main highway. It's still this flooding is problem in Mayapur. There is actually up above there is a dam, and whenever the floods happen, so either the option is to let the water flow to Bangladesh or let the water flow to India. And when it comes to India, it floods Mayapur and other low areas also. So the understanding is, so 1 year they open the gates towards Bangladesh, 1 year they open the gates towards India. Now when this Temple of Vedic Planetarium, TOVP, the bigger temple was getting constructed. Now that was a problem. If the flooding happens, then the construction will be damaged. To a new construction, you cannot have the floods come in. So, so what I've heard, I don't know for sure. So the people at the dam up above, so they were given some money that for so many years you just open the gates towards Bangladesh, don't open towards India. Because we are doing major construction here, the major project is going on. And now this temple, Vedic Planetarium temple, that is it's still being finished. Construction is done. The structure is taken care of. So now they made it so high that whatever the historical marks of Ganga or flood level, it's way above that. But in Mayapur, even when the older temple, it's still there. And Ganga would fill it. They would come in and fill up the temple. And the Lord Nrsimhadev deity is lower than Panchtattva or Radha Madhav. And Nrsimhadev deity would be submerged in Ganga. And devotees would take boats and go into the temple or go around Mayapur also. They would use the boats. This is how bad it becomes. I don't know. I mean, government has to do something to make some canals so the water doesn't flood the area. But it has been going on for so many years. New Delhi, November 10th, 1971. A car pulled out from the crowd in front of the airport terminal. Prabhupada sitting in the back seat, his bamboo cane against his knee, his hand in his bead bag, talked with his Delhi disciples. As the car moved through the broad avenues of New Delhi, Prabhupada removed two knee-length flower garlands from around his neck and placed them beside him on the seat. It was midday and the November climate was pleasant. Prabhupada had arrived from Calcutta just in time for 10 days Corn Pandal festival, beginning the next day. One of the devotees mentioned how fitting it had been that the mayor of New Delhi, Mr. Hansraj Gupta, had greeted Prabhupada at the airport. Prabhupada smiled. In his speech before Mayor Gupta and a gathering at the airport, Prabhupada had explained India's duty of performing welfare work for the rest of the world. He had also described how at age 75 he had met his Guru Maharaj, how at age 25 he had met his Guru Maharaj and had then received the order to carry Lord Chaitanya's message to the English-speaking world. Explaining why he had waited until he was 70 before going west, he had remarked, I was trying to become a successful tool for preaching Lord Chaitanya's message. Hundreds of thousands of preachers were needed now as the Krishna consciousness movement was spreading throughout the world. And the black men are also dancing, Prabhupada had said. And they are asking the Indian people why you and the Swamis do not give us this sublime method. Black men means in Africa, dancing. Delhi was the third Indian city Prabhupada had visited since his return from Africa a month ago. His first stop, Bombay, had begun roughly. Shyam Sundar had neglected to carry Srila Prabhupada's inoculation card. Means he had taken his vaccines. So immigration officials had denied Prabhupada entry into India, quarantining him at the Bombay Airport Hospital for 10 days. So for 10 days, Prabhupada had to be at the airport hospital because of whatever the virus was going on at that time. Confined to a street with an adjoining veranda overlooking a garden, Prabhupada had resigned himself to a more limited sphere of activity. Still, each morning after breakfast, he had conducted a dialogue with Shyam Sundar about certain leading Western philosophers. Shyam Sundar would present a particular philosophy and Prabhupada would discuss it in light of the Vedic view. Then, with only 1 day left before the end of the 10-day quarantine period, the inoculation card had arrived and Prabhupada had been released. Immediately, he had left for Calcutta and a series of kirtan and lecture programs at Deshpriya Park. He had stayed in Calcutta 2.5 weeks, appreciating the location of the ISKCON temple at Albert Road in the heart of what had once been the Sahab, European section. Now I'm bringing the Sahabs back to the Sahab quarter. Prabhupada had said, but this time they're all coming as Vaishnavas. You should never give up this place. So ISKCON still had temple at Albert Road. So it was a Sahab section, so mostly Europeans or British used to live there. Some of the Calcutta devotees had complained to Srila Prabhupada that the temple was being mismanaged and that due to insufficient income, their diet was inadequate. When Prabhupada had questioned the temple leaders, one devotee had replied, Srila Prabhupada, I was simply trying to execute your will. Is it my will, Prabhupada had asked, that the devotees should be disturbed? He had settled the differences, arranged for an improved diet, and had even recommended a democratic election of temple officers. Now, this is something Prabhupada had established. There is a document of management, DOM. And Prabhupada wanted elections, democratically chosen leaders of the temple, not selected, but elected. But somehow it doesn't happen. But he had also explained that because Krishna consciousness was such an important mission, the devotees should cooperate, even if they were discrepancies. The material world is like an ocean, he had said, and there would always be waves. During his visit to Calcutta, Prabhupada had also spoken of his plans for Mayapur. Narayan had built a scale model of the building ISKCON would construct on the newly acquired property, and Prabhupada had shown it to all his guests and had asked them to help. Seeing Prabhupada's absorption in this project, Giriraj had volunteered to help in any way required. It seems the two things he wanted most, Giriraj had said, are for the books to be distributed and to build a temple at Mayapur. Yes, Prabhupada had said, smiling. Yes, thank you. When Prabhupada arrived at the home of Mr. Ram Nivas Dandaria in New Delhi, a waiting reporter interviewed him. I understand, said the reporter, that by Krishna you mean some eternal principle. I do not mean a principle, Prabhupada replied. I mean a person like you and me. Prabhupada was explaining Lord Krishna as a supreme person when suddenly sirens began sounding. So 1971, that was a time when India went on war with Pakistan to liberate Bangladesh. Blackout, blackout, cried the reporter and others in the house. War between Pakistan and India had been imminent for weeks, and air raid drills and warnings were now commonplace in Delhi. Sir, the reporter spoke tensely in the darkened room. This is the presence of reality. We are being threatened by this fight with Pakistan. The siren is an ugly reality coming for us. We are always in the ugly reality, Prabhupada said, 24 hours a day. Suppose there is no blackout. Still, if you go in the street, there is no guarantee that you'll get home. In this way, you're always in the ugly reality. Why do you say only this blackout? This is just one of the features of this ugly reality, that's all. Reporter, yes, but at the moment, Prabhupada, you do not realize that you are in ugly reality 24 hours a day. Padam padam yatavi padam. There is danger at every step. Reporter, I know, sir, but this is collective, national danger. Have you anything to offer us as a remedy? Prabhupada, Krishna consciousness is our only remedy. Take to this process and you will be happy. Reporter, sir, I think someone should go to the Yahya Khan, president of Pakistan. Prabhupada, what benefit will you derive by going to Yahya Khan? Someone is out to kill me. Prabhupada, but suppose Yahya Khan does not kill you, will you be safe? Then what's the use to go to Yahya Khan? You will die today or tomorrow. If you want to save yourself, then go to Krishna. That is our proposition. Even if you go to Yahya Khan and he does not fight, then you mean to say that you will live forever? What's the use of flattering Yahya Khan? Flatter Krishna, so that you may be saved perpetually. Why don't you do that? Reporter, I was only thinking in terms of collective security. I can see your point. Prabhupada, you should know that you're always in danger. Reporter, yes, sir, we agree. The late Einstein said the same thing. Prabhupada, that is our position. And Krishna says, I will save you. Therefore, let us go to Krishna. Why go to Yahya Khan? Reporter, simply because he is disturbing us. That's all. Prabhupada, your mind is always disturbing you all the time because it is always with you. Your body is always with you. Are you not suffering from bodily pains? Why don't you go to Yahya Khan to cure your pains? You're always in danger. Why don't you realize that? Reporter, we realize that this is a national disaster. Prabhupada, these are symptoms. People are trying to give a patchwork cure for the disease. We are giving the supreme cure. That's the difference. No patchwork cure will help you. You need a complete cure. Janma karma chame divyam evam yuveti tattvatam. Tyakta deham punarjanma naiti mameti suarjun. The cure is no more repetition of birth and death. That is what we want. That's the benefit of Krishna consciousness. Yam prapena nivartante tadham paramam mama. If you go to Krishna, then you don't come back again to this material world. Reporter, so mine was a very hypothetical question. Suppose 100 pure, saintly, Krishna conscious person are meditating or discussing together, and someone comes along and drops a bomb. Proper. Those who are Krishna conscious are not afraid of bomb. When they see a bomb coming, they think that Krishna desired the bomb to come. A Krishna conscious person is never afraid of anything. Ayam dhritiya biniveshita seya. One who has the conception that something can exist outside of Krishna is afraid. On the other hand, one who knows that everything is coming from Krishna has no reason to be afraid. The bomb is coming, he says, oh, Krishna is coming. That is a vision of the devotee. He thinks Krishna wants to kill me with the bomb. That's all right. I'll be killed. That is Krishna consciousness. It's amazing how Prabhupada is preaching, what is consciousness of Prabhupada. Even if the bomb is coming, he just thinks, okay, Krishna is coming. Krishna is sending this bomb to kill me, fine. When the reporter asked if a Vaishnava would die without fighting, Prabhupada said the Vaishnavas would fight, but only under the direction of Krishna. And he cited Arjuna and Hanuman as examples. He continued to explain Krishna consciousness as the only solution. The blackout ended. A few of Prabhupada's disciples had organized a New Delhi Pandal program like the public festivals Prabhupada had already introduced in India. The Malkrishna, Tejas, and Gurudas had enlisted the help of important Delhi men, including the mayor and members of New Delhi's management and reception committee. These persons had granted permission and issued letters of introduction to others, whom the devotees had then approached for donations. The devotees found everyone they met sympathetic to Srila Prabhupada. They respected him, especially after meeting. Some disagreed philosophically, yet all were impressed by Prabhupada's converting Westerners to Hindu dharma and God consciousness. And they had genuine respect for Prabhupada's worldwide propagation of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. So they had genuine respect, but not ready to join. Prabhupada had great stature among the Indians as a sadhu. Speaking only on the basis of the scriptures, he exhibited full surrender to Lord Krishna. He was above politics and sectarianism. He was fully spiritual and commanded respect. Everyone, regardless of personal philosophies or practices, seemed to accept him as a true representative of Indian culture, a genuine sadhu and guru. So this is the aura of Prabhupada. Among the distinguished persons who agreed to appear as guest speakers during the 10-day festival were Shri Hansaraj Gupta, Mayor H. Bachchan, a famous Harivansh Rai Bachchan, a famous Hindi poet, Shri Shyam Charan Gupta, Chairman of the Delhi Metropolitan Council, Shri C.B. Agarwal, a famous orator, Shri Vipin Chandra Mishra, Magistrate of the Delhi High Court, Dr. Atmaram, a renowned scientist, Colonel B.R. Mohan, ex-mayor and industrialist of Lucknow, Shri L.N. Saklani, a prominent industrialist, Shri Aditya Nath Jha, the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, Shri Jagjeevan Ram, Indian Defense Minister, and His Excellency James George, a Canadian High Commissioner. Gurudas had also had friendly conversations with the US Ambassador to India, Kenneth Keating, who had repeatedly expressed his respect for the Krishna consciousness movement. Ambassador Keating regretted that he would be out of town during the function. The devotees had secured an excellent location at the LIC grounds in Connaught Place, the heart of New Delhi's commercial district. There they had arranged for a large tent and outdoor lighting for a 10-day festival. On opening day, the program started at 6 a.m. with a kirtan and an aarti before the newly arrived deities of Radha and Krishna, while white marble deities from Jaipur enthroned upon a flower-bedecked altar on the large stage. Attending was sparse at first, so picked up when after a noon kirtan and aarti, devotees began distributing Krishna Prashadam. The evening program started with a kirtan which continued enthusiastically, building to an ecstatic climax as Srila Prabhupada entered. For the pious people of Delhi, the evening Hare Krishna festival was a momentous occasion. Since the location and the hour were ideal and the admission was free, the crowd had grown to tens of thousands, many having come specifically to see the young American Vaishnavas. So those are the really attracting points. At Prabhupada's arrival, hundreds of people surged forward to touch his feet and receive his blessings, as a ring of disciples escorted him through the crowd. Prabhupada, wearing a grey wool chadar, his Swami hat pushed back casually on his head, moved calmly forward towards the stage with natural, aristocratic voice. He sat on the Vyasasana and the audience quieted. So Delhi LIC ground in Connaught Place, I don't know where exactly it is, but I heard it's a big ground. And the Mandal program was a success over there. New Delhi's mayor, Shri Hansraj Gupta, spoke first. He had met Srila Prabhupada in the early 1960s when Prabhupada had approached him for a donation to publish the first volume of Srimad Bhagavatam. Mayor Gupta, recognizing Prabhupada as someone sincere and near to God, had helped, and Prabhupada had later presented him with complimentary copies of the first two volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Gupta was impressed by Prabhupada's success in spreading Vaishnavism in the West. And as he had introduced Srila Prabhupada, he expounded on the Krishna consciousness philosophy he had read in Prabhupada's Bhagavatams. He said, speaking in Hindi, but that as a mayor of Delhi for 5 years, he had many times welcomed important visitors and delivered addresses, but such functions were usually only formalities. This was not, however, the case with Srila Prabhupada. He said, since no one he had ever known could compare with Prabhupada. He praised Prabhupada for doing an immense amount of good work in India and the whole world, said Mayor Gupta. He also given me love and affection, and I am more affected by that than anything else. So, Mayor Hansraj Gupta, political person, but see, he is saying Prabhupada gave me love and affection, and that meant more, affected me more than anything else. Not just the preaching, not just the philosophy, not just the prasadam. It's a personal care, love, affection that helps in preaching. Because see, everybody is disturbed in their personal lives. This is how Krishna has designed the material. Everybody is disturbed. So if they come in contact with devotees, first thing they should experience is, yes, they're really caring. Without any ulterior motive, without any selfish interest. They're really caring. And this is what people are looking for in the material world. And once they open their heart, means they become receptive to learn, to hear what devotees have to say and how they are living their lives, then they become more impressed and the hearts start to get transformed. I remember when I had just started going to ISKCON, no interest in doing anything. And unfortunately, I used to eat non-veg at that time. So one devotee, she was preaching to me on the Sunday feast time, oh, do you eat chicken? And I was like, yeah, I eat chicken. Oh, you're going to take birth as a chicken next life and you're going to be eaten by somebody. I'm like, what's your problem? I'm having my prasadam here, let me eat my feast. So that kind of preaching, that kind of approach by devotees doesn't help. They never have. So I didn't go to temple for many, many weeks. Finally, some devotee, again, I was invited for dinner at somebody's house and temple president had come. And actually that was a turning point. And that temple president, whenever I meet him, I say, you're the one who preached to me in the beginning. And we were having dinner at that devotee's house. And somehow the conversation started and the president was saying in Oriental countries, like in China and the Eastern countries, the delicacy, the real food, the delicacy, the luxurious food is the flesh of embryo of humans, whether it is aborted or somehow he had died. That flesh, because it's very soft, they serve it. And I was really taken aback. But somehow or other, I just love babies. I like to play with the babies. And how can they do that? How can they eat baby flesh like that? And temple prayer, I still remember, and he looked at me in my eyes and he said, "You eat chicken. Isn't that somebody's baby?" And that really hit me. I came home and I threw away everything from my fridge. All non-veg was gone. That was the last day. So the point is, how do we preach? Not before preaching, how do we approach a person? That makes a difference. Okay, I guess we can stop here. See anybody have any questions or comments?
Nice class, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Chalo, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you
Hare
very
Prabhuji.
much,
Krishna.